Every time a new Mortal Kombat game comes out, it's much different than the last one. Mortal Kombat X was very different from 9, 11 was very different from X, but is Mortal Kombat 1 much different than Mortal Kombat 11? In my opinion, Mortal Kombat 1 feels like a true sequel to Mortal Kombat 11, and what I mean by that is it seems like they took a lot of feedback and they fixed a lot of issues that people had with some of the mechanics that were in MK11. Today I'm going to go through some of the things that are similar, some of the things that are similar but changed, things that are just not there anymore, and the things that are completely new in Mortal Kombat 1. So to start off, if you've heard anything about Mortal Kombat 1, as far as criticism goes anyway, it's probably that the movement is lacking. The movement speed is probably the most similar to Mortal Kombat 11. You do not have a run like you did in MKX, and the dashes are a little bit more subdued than they were in Mortal Kombat 9. During the first Kombat cast, however, the devs did mention that they were aware that people wanted the dashes changed, or at least they were aware that people had issue with the dashes, so that is something that might change in the future.
Also, we got a lot of really excellent feedback from you, especially in the terms of dashing and that sort of stuff.
Oh,
they're actually addressing dashing.
So just keep in mind, we see all that stuff, we listen to that stuff. Nothing to say right now, but we're discussing all of it.
That's cool that they're actually they're acknowledging that. So like a lot of people, like the most common complaint probably from the stress test was the dashing.
Listening for sure.
Yeah,
So that's something they might actually fix that or like address it.
Lot,
But during the stress test, I will say that the movement felt the most similar to Mortal Kombat 11. That also translates over to the neutral. The neutral felt very similar to Mortal Kombat 11 as well, as you didn't have a lot of tools that just got you through neutral for free, There were moves that would get you in, for example, like Sub-Zero Slide, but unless you cover it with a cameo, that is a negative move, so that's pretty par for the course for a Mortal Kombat title. Also, a lot of moves felt similar in speed. I did check the frame data on some of Kenshi's moves, for example, and some of his fastest moves were 7 and 8 frames, which is very similar to how they were in Mortal Kombat 11. As of right now, the general movement, game speed, and neutral felt very similar to how it is in Mortal Kombat 11, at least in the stress test. Maybe we'll see some changes in the final product, but as of right now, again, it is a very similar feeling game in that regard. Now, to move on to features that are similar to things in MK11 but are different, we have the breaker system. So in Mortal Kombat 11, you spend 2 defensive bars to fully break away out of a combo. It's not a complete breaker, as you can be still hit after you break away. And in certain situations, the person breaking away can wake up in an advantageous position and punish the person who's doing the combo. In Mortal Kombat 1, you spend all 3 of your bars to perform a breaker, which resets both players to neutral, which is something that I think a lot of people are going to be preferring to the breakaway system. Speaking of defensive options, on Wake Up, there's a lot less defensive options. In Mortal Kombat 11, on Wake Up, you could up 3, which is an armored Wake Up, up 2, which is a launcher, forward roll, backward roll, wake up normally, delay wake up, and of course wake up with a block or wake up with a jump, as well as just waking up with pressing buttons or throwing. In Mortal Kombat 1, the options you have on wake up are much more subdued. For example, you can delay wake up like they did in Mortal Kombat 11, however there's only one timing to the delay, so it's not like a spectrum of delays. You can get up normally. You can also spend a bar to wake up and do an armored move, which is more similar to how it was in MKX. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Those are all your special wake-ups, as they don't have forward roll, they don't have backward roll, and they don't have the up 2 or up 3s from Mortal Kombat 11. I think overall this is going to be a good change because people generally complain about how many wake-up options there are, for good reason, because it can be hard to pressure someone on their wake-up when there's so many things you have to calculate and account for, which ultimately leads to the aggressor losing their turn when they should be rewarded for knocking the opponent down. Moving on to our last defensive mechanic, Flawless Block. Flawless Block is back, but I think it's been changed for the better, as just like we mentioned with the wake-up options, you don't have up 2 or up 3 anymore. Flawless Block up 2 and up 3 are also removed from the game. What this means is that if you Flawless Block an attack, the main purpose of that is going to be to negate the damage, but also when you Flawless Block an attack, you're going to have to manually input your punish. I think this is going to be great for the game, as this is going to give players more agency in determining which punish they want to go for, and it's not like if you Flawless Block something, the answer is always going to be an up 2. There are going to be situations where maybe one punish works because the Flawless Block makes a move more negative than another move that would be Flawless Blocked, and I think overall this is a great change. Fatal Blow is another mechanic that's coming back. However, due to changes, you're not going to be able to really use it as a defensive move. For example, Fatal Blow no longer has armor on startup, and there's a big screen flash before the animation for the attack actually comes out. So you're able to react to it a lot easier than you could in MK11. You're not going to be just surprised by a random armored move that's going to take away 30% of your health. You're going to see the screen flash and you'll be able to react accordingly. It seems like they want you to use Fatal Blow more so as a combo tool, as due to these changes, it's not really a good idea to try to use it as a reversal or as a defense tool like you could in Mortal Kombat 11. The meter system does not work like how it did in Mortal Kombat 11. Gone are the days of the defensive and offensive meter that automatically regenerates for you. The meter system works more like it did in Mortal Kombat 9 and X, as players are rewarded with meter for performing actions in the game instead of having the timer tick up as your meter does. I was initially worried about this change because in Mortal Kombat 11, for most characters to combo, they have to spend a bar of meter. And if you have to spend your meter on other things in this game, such as for breakaway, or as it is in this game, breaker, you're going to have less meter to work with in order to do combos. However, another thing that is changed is that a lot of moves do not require you to spend meter in order to combo with them. What this means is that you're going to be doing a lot more meterless combos, leaving you meter to use on other things, such as breakers. In fact, during the stress test, I never felt like I didn't have meter when I wanted it. I felt like I always had meter, whether it was for a combo extension, for an enhanced move, or if I needed to break, I felt like I had it. Basically, it felt like meter was very abundant, which is great as that encourages player decision and it makes the game feel a lot faster than maybe the movement speed lets on. Now, to talk about things that are just completely not there anymore. Crushing blows. Crushing blows are a divisive topic in the Mortal Kombat scene. I think the idea of crushing blows are interesting, but the way that crushing blows ended up working in Mortal Kombat 11, I think it ended up not working out the way they thought they would. For example, throw KBs, I understand the reward for having someone fail and escape fail, but having to worry about that 30% damage off the next throw, off of a 50-50 essentially, is something that players found frustrating, as well as getting randomly down 2'd for going for a high or going for a throw. These things made players frustrated more often than not, and instead of reworking the system, it seems like NRS has just opted to remove it completely from the game. I think most players are going to like this change. However, I will miss the times where you could get combos off of moves you couldn't normally combo from for fulfilling a certain requirement. I thought that was a really cool idea, and if crushing blows ever return to the series, I would hope they would take the approach this way, as it would give players new and unique ways to combo. Also gone are interactables. Interactables have been in NetherRealm games since Injustice 1 and in Mortal Kombat since MKX. I personally am going to miss interactables as they led to some cool and unique gameplay opportunities, especially with the ones that gave you combos, as in Cyberlink Quay Bombs, or on Kronika's Keep with the Crystal, or in Soul Chamber in Mortal Kombat 11. I thought these interactables were so cool. It is sad to see them go, but I think having interactables, KBs, and cameos, along with other system mechanics, may have been too much, so it makes sense that they removed them from the game. Completely new to Mortal Kombat 1 is the mechanic called Uplock. Uplock is a interesting feature. They've never had this in Mortal Kombat before, where your character actually shifts their guard stance up, and this can be used to block incoming jumping attacks, but I've also seen people use it to block overheads. So I'm fairly certain you can use it for either of those options. What this does is it stops people from doing a special cancel, so for example, off of a jump kick. If Uplock was in Mortal Kombat 11, for example, Cabal would not be able to do jump kick, Slide Gas jump kick. He wouldn't be able to special cancel there if you upblocked the first jump kick. Also, it seems to make your character recover faster and allow you to get punishes that might not be possible otherwise. For example, during the last day of the stress test, I was playing against a Sub-Zero player who was upblocking my Kenshi overhead move from full screen and was able to get a slide punish on me. This is going to allow for new punishes that might not otherwise be possible if you time an upblock correctly. However, if you do upblock, you are putting yourself at risk, as if you get grabbed, the grab does nearly double damage. A normal grab in MK1 does about 110 to 130 damage, and if you get grabbed during an upblock, it can do up to 200. I've even seen Jax's throw do up to 320 damage because he can amp his during an upblock, so be careful going for upblock, because if you get red, it's going to hurt. Another new thing coming to Mortal Kombat is air combos. While technically it's not completely new, as they had air combos in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, it is the first time we're seeing it in an NRS Mortal Kombat game. At first, I thought air combos might be kind of wonky. I didn't really like the way they looked at first, but after playing the stress test, I got used to them, and I think they're actually a really great addition to the game. Air combos are not uniform for all characters. For example, Sub-Zero has a string in the air that literally gives a re-pop up on the opponent, which allows him to combo further. While Kenshi, the character I played, he did not, but he did have a few different strings that could be used that just gave him extra damage or extra corner carry. I think air combos are a great mechanic add to the game, as when they're paired with the next new mechanic in the game, they can allow for some very interesting combos. The next new mechanic, which I'm sure everybody is aware of, is the cameo system. In Mortal Kombat 1, the cameo system is a little bit different than a normal assist or a normal tag. They're much more integrated into the gameplay. For example, a cameo could cover you in a way that your character may be lacking. If your character doesn't have great projectiles, you could bring a cameo that has good projectiles, or If your character has trouble getting in on opponents, maybe you bring a cameo that has a teleport that can get you in. It seems like they're really doing a great job of mixing up the cameos, as some of them are going to be more than just combo damage or projectiles. They're going to have a bit of utility to them. In fact, in the Lin Kuei gameplay trailer, we saw a moment where Scorpion uses a spear to pull you backwards, which is going to be an insane tool to escape from a sticky situation. Cameos are much more than assist in this way, as they feel like a true replacement to the variation system that we've seen in Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11. As aside from your character, it seems like that's the system that they want the player to have a little bit of expression in and a little bit of choice in how they play the game. Learning character matchups and learning cameo matchups is going to be an insane part of learning this game, and I cannot wait. So, in conclusion, do I think Mortal Kombat 1 is just Mortal Kombat 11 2? Well, sort of. I think this is the first time we're seeing a game from NetherRealm Studios that actually builds upon the foundation built in the last game. It feels like they honestly took a look at all the mechanics and things they did in Mortal Kombat 11. They took players' feedback, and besides maybe the movement speed, which was a big complaint people had in Mortal Kombat 11, they adjusted them and made them better in the long run. Breakaway, something people hated, has been changed to Breaker, which is more classic and traditional. That's more like what they had in Mortal Kombat X. People complain about wake-up options. There are many less wake-up options than there were in Mortal Kombat 11. Fatal Blow, which feels bad to get hit by, especially as a reversal, has been tweaked, so it's less of a defensive option, more as a combo tool. Plus Block, a mechanic they introduced in Mortal Kombat 11, has been tweaked in a much more healthy way for the game in the long run. Meter regenning has been completely removed from the game, and players are now required to build up their meter, which is also something people have been asking for. Besides just changing things in Mortal Kombat 11, however, though, they did add new things. For example, the up block mechanic, air combos, and cameos, which are going to be a huge game changer going forward. As someone who enjoys all of the Mortal Kombat games, especially Mortal Kombat 11, I'm very much looking forward to Mortal Kombat 1, and I'm very interested to see how it plays in the long run. Before I end this video, I want to leave you off with a question. If you played Mortal Kombat 11, did you enjoy the game, or did you not really enjoy it? Are the changes they're making in Mortal Kombat 1 on the systems introduced in Mortal Kombat 11 changes that you're interested in? Do they look like positive changes to you? Or are you worried that the game is going to feel too much like Mortal Kombat 11? Please let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys around in the next one.